Welcome back to another episode of Open Class. I am your host.
And I am Jay.
How was your holidays? Happy New Year. How we doing?
It was a weird couple of weeks because with the holiday being in the middle of the week, and long story short, the city no longer gives me New Year's Eve off in exchange for they made Lunar New Year a holiday that city workers get off. And so it just was extra bizarre, especially when there were like hockey games being played throughout the day. And I just felt really disoriented with like, I want to watch games too. And like, I guess I could play them in the back, but I need to be a good worker and pay attention. So, yeah, it was, I don't know. I just didn't feel as rested as I like to be during the holidays, feeling like, time to wind down and take in whatever festivities you want to. So it was just a really strange time for me. And I think next year I'm probably going to take some extra days off during those weeks because it was more busy than I wanted it to be.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I actually was lucky because my boss went away for the week, so I didn't have to go. I went in on Monday, and then I was off the rest of the week, so I've had a little bit of
Like it
time
just
off.
feels strange that like there's a vibe in the air where people are like, yeah, don't really like work too hard, yet you have to be there. So then it's like
Yeah,
I'm like, if we aren't really gonna do much, like, why am I here?
right. But speaking of hockey games, you mentioned, were you able to catch any of what with the Winter Classic?
I did not plan to, and it looks like a large chunk of the audience that they figured would didn't either.
I I didn't realize that they switched the date from the usual New Year's Day game to New Year's Eve. So I didn't realize this until 2 days later when I saw people talking about it on Twitters or whatever. And because listen, the holidays I spend a lot of time with my family. I'm not on socials as often, and so I'm a little behind on that. But I didn't realize they switched it to the 31st instead, and apparently the viewership was real low, and people are speculating what the reasons of that would be. It was under a million viewers, which is insane. And I don't know if it's because they switched the date or if it's because of the teams that they chose for this year's Winter Classic. What are your thoughts?
I want to say it's the teams because I have zero sympathy for either of these teams, and especially the Hawks, because as Sharks fans know, we don't have any games on the TNT network this season. And that is largely because they probably don't think anyone wants to watch the Sharks. And yet, we are doing some pretty awesome stuff despite being 31st in the league. There's a lot of little, like, we've already talked about it, like, a lot last episode. There are a lot of little good things happening in our little rebuild. And the Hawks are kind of, right there with us in terms of when they sort of started their rebuild. They're building around Connor Bedard. Like all last season, it was Connor Bedard this, Connor Bedard that. And we get it. Like, but we're not really in, like, at that level, we're not really seeing that sort of like advertising from the league. Like the everyone get behind the first overall pick. I get it. Like Connor Bedard was, the generational talent of that draft class. But I mean, maybe we're a little biased, but I think Celebrini's kind of up there, but he wasn't really talked about as much as Bedard. And they even this season, I mean, they give the Hawks a Winter Classic, and like, was it a couple of seasons ago they gave the Golden Knights the I don't remember if it was a Stadium Series or Winter Classic
It
over
was the
in
stadiums
for at
in
Lake
Tahoe.
Tahoe.
Yeah.
and we kind of had feels about that because we kind of feel like Tahoe's like our like region, but you know the Sharks suck, so we kind of felt like, oh, they probably won't give us, they probably didn't give us that because who wants to watch the Shark? Like I would have watched them just because and like the festivities of it, but the
It would not have been a
larger,
good game.
yeah, it like to attract an audience outside of these fan bases is probably not good marketing wise
Right.
at that time. So, whatever reason that the Hawks got to play in this Winter Classic, I have zero sympathy to give for them
Right.
because I largely feel like the NHL figured its original six team, it's got Connor Bedard. Of course, people are gonna watch it.
Yeah, it didn't happen. I think it's a little bit of both. Nobody cares about either of these teams. The St. Louis Blues are also kind of struggling. The Blackhawks, nobody really cares about anymore. They're not doing anything fun. I think Bedard might be struggling this year. You're not really hearing much about him, and they switched the date without marketing this game much. Like I didn't hear anything about the Winter Classic leading up to it. Maybe it's just me because I haven't been able to catch as many games this year, but like I haven't seen anything on socials or nothing. I don't think the NHL did a very good job marketing this game at all. So that's on
Shocker.
y'all. That's on y'all. Maybe you'll learn. I don't know. um, some more fun stuff happening today. The World Juniors, the U.S. team is going up against Finland today, yeah, later today, as this podcast is being recorded. Um, have you been able to catch anything on this? Keep up with that?
I have not, but this is definitely one that I'm gonna catch later. We have two of our prospects in this final matchup, and I mean, I don't know how I'm going to watch this game since they, just like how great the NHL is or hockey in general at marketing all this stuff, they still put it on very few channels that make it very difficult to watch these games. So, but we'll try to figure out how I'm going to watch this game because I would like to.
Right, right. Um,
Um,
who are the prospects? Svoboda?
and
Sv-
Haltonen.
oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, he's
Yeah.
been playing really well. That would
Yeah.
be exciting.
So.
Good luck to y'all. I don't really
And
like.
the
Well, okay.
only other thing I've heard about this is I think I was listening 32 Thoughts on the drive to work the other day, and they were talking about like there's apparently been some drama around Team Canada,
Yeah.
and I've caught hairs of it. I've caught hairs
Right.
of it. Largely, where we talked last pod about Zane Perek, like he's
Mm.
one of those up and coming defensemen that I'm looking forward to seeing, but he was snuffed from the team. So there's drama in relation to like reaction to this stuff. And I guess in general, people kind of like were not all that excited about the way that not talking about the prospects that were named to the team, but I guess the way that it came about, I didn't
Mm.
follow it too closely, but it was kind of one of those, tell me more, popcorn. Um, so, and the fact that they got knocked out in the quarterfinals, like, it's like, ooh, Canada, like, their bread and butter or their maple syrup and poutine over there, like,
Ew.
it was not made to tip top quality shape.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if it was the pressure that everyone was putting on Team Canada or just that people felt like they really kept out a lot of really good players from the team that people were like, I don't know how I feel about it this year, but that it's just interesting that what these there's just so much drama around Team Canada in general, and these poor kids have to deal with it too. Like they're children. Let them play their hockey. I don't usually like to root for the U.S. for many things, sports wise. But we have two prospects on the team. I'll root for them. Speaking of prospects, though, former prospect Ozzy Wiesblatt, he was a first round draft pick. I want to say in the 2019 draft or
You're
2020.
close. I have it
20,
pulled up. It's the 2020 draft.
2020. Okay, 2020
He was
draft.
the last pick of the first round by
Right.
us, and
We got that pick through trading Barkley Goodrow to the Lightning.
correct.
Right. So we had high hopes for this kid. I remember when Doug Wilson Jr. when he announced the draft pick, he spelled out his name in sign language because this kid, his mom, I believe, is deaf. So him and his brothers know sign language to communicate with her, and so it was a really wholesome gesture by Doug Wilson Jr. um, and everyone was really excited because this kid seemed like he had a lot of grit. When he came up to play in San Jose, he stayed on the Barracuda. Everyone was curious to see if he could make it, if he could make those steps to make it to the big club, but he seemed to be lacking just a little something. But I heard everyone loved him down in the Cuda. They were pretty upset when we traded him to the Preds, but it seems like he's doing great over there because he just made his NHL debut. Um, and he looks so happy. They took a picture. The NHL posted, "Hard not to smile when you're making your NHL debut. Congrats, Ozzy Wiesblatt," which is super sweet. Happy for the guy. He seems like a good guy. And um, yeah, what's this video you posted here about his mom?
So this was a video that actually came out several years back, and it just kind of tells the story of their family. So as you already mentioned, his mom is deaf, and I believe his dad is as well. So him and the rest of his siblings, their first language was actually sign language, and so they kind of have to learn. And since all the kids are hearing,
Mhm.
um, they one of them mentioned how he kind of picked up on verbal English language from watching TV, and then eventually, they would go to school and stuff like that. But their first language was sign language to communicate with their parents. And then at some point, the parents split up, and the mom was left to raise all five of them. They started out playing soccer, and one thing led to another. They were introduced to hockey. And as we know, the sport is quite expensive, but since like the boys among the kids, they really took to hockey. Kim, the mom, was very determined to she just wanted her children to be happy, and they also received a lot of help along the way to kind of handle the financial aspect of it and everything like that. And if you watch the video at some point, she mentioned, obviously, like the dream would be able to see one of her kids make it to the NHL level. And I do believe that Ozzy is the first one to do that. So what a great, and so I think that's why they incorporated back this video. It started circulating back on the socials to kind of just full circle it to this moment that now she gets to see Ozzy make his NHL debut with the Nashville Predators. Yeah, so it was really unfortunate that it didn't really work out here in San Jose. But last season, I believe, when he did kind of get loaned to, it says March 18, 2024, he was reassigned by the Sharks from the Barracuda to the Milwaukee Admirals, and he played the remainder of the season with them. And then I believe they spent X amount of time in the playoffs. So yeah, it's really unfortunate, but then eventually, he was traded over there. And yeah, I mean, we wish him well. Sad to see that not work out, but it is what it is, I guess. But it's I don't know, this, like, watching this video was very, like, it kind of hit home a little bit to me, just because, like, I'm very familiar with, like, single parent household and things like that, and just the parent kind of, doing everything they can, just to, with the happiness of their kids in mind. And so, yeah, I got pretty emotional watching this video. I mean, God, 5 children, and this mom, just like a super parent, and on top of living in a world that is not catered to you as a deaf person. So I don't know, just I hope, I didn't see the game. I don't know if they won, but whatever it is, I'm sure she was just living in the moment. What a proud time for her to see Ozzy take the ice at the NHL level.
Yeah, for sure. I was rooting for the kid because it's such a wholesome, like a very heartwarming story. The way that they were brought up and everything that his mom went through, and you really root for the guy. It really sucked that it didn't work out here because we really wanted it to, but I don't know if it was just the way that the organization was going or what. Things played out the way they did, but I'm glad to see that he's finally made it up to the big club, and hopefully he's able to stay up there with the Preds. Um, yeah, it's good for him. He's a hard worker.
The whole family.
For sure, for sure. But the whole family isn't in an NHL. I don't keep track of them.
Takes a village.
It sure does. All right. It seems a little early, but I think I did want to take up this moment to my God, words. We're gonna play our ads. We're gonna talk about our sponsors. We're sponsored by Game Time. This is an app I use pretty frequently whenever I go to Sharks game. Pretty reliable. I'm getting ready to buy some tickets to possibly go to Pride Night coming up for the Sharks. They do have these Game Time picks that give you the best options for the specific game you're choosing, best deals for whatever seat you're looking for or you might want to buy. They have something called a super deal that gives you basically the best value. I also really like to use the feature with the all-in pricing, so I know exactly how much money I'll be paying instead of like being surprised by all the fees at the end. It also has a feature for the seat views, so like panoramic, click the seat, you can see exactly what it is that you're going to be looking at if you're sitting there. To take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks, you can download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code with THPN for $20 off, which is actually a pretty good deal. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. That's so funny. If you want to do it online, go to gametime.co. Just remember to put in the code, get your $20 off, support us in the process. Your favorite podcast and all that.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Okay, and so the money line for tomorrow, Monday, January 6th. The Washington Capitals are at a negative a 142. The Buffalo Sabres are at a plus 120. The Vancouver Canucks are at negative 130. Montreal Canadiens are a plus 110. And the Florida Panthers are plus 110. The Avalanche are at negative 130. The Devils are at negative 185. And the Seattle Kraken are at plus 154. So go place your bets if you're. You should have DraftKings by now, supporting us and all that. So go have fun. All right. We're switching gears to our favorite topic to talk about on this podcast. As Sharks fans, we must talk about the Sharks. I wasn't able to catch any of these games, but I would like to know your thoughts on this silly little video that you wanted to share with everyone with between Wennberg and Eyssimont. Which, by the way, if you guys don't remember, Eyssimont did play for the Barracuda here for a couple years or something. He was a prospect of ours. Um, is it Eyssimont or Eyssimont? Oh, just kidding.
Are
Just
you
kidding. It's
sure
Mikey.
he would? Well, okay.
I
So
misread the jersey.
we didn't know. We picked him up from. He was one of those like waiver picks, I
Right, right,
believe.
right. I misread the jersey. I saw Eyssimont. Totally
No,
different
no.
person. This is
He's still with
Eyssimont.
us though,
Right.
isn't he?
No, he's with the Devils.
Okay.
I just remembered. How confusing. Restart, restart. There's a video of the Sharks playing the Lightning. Wennberg got into it with Mikey Eyssimont. I remember he was on the Sharks for not even a whole season. I think he was traded over here. We loved the kid. We really loved his playing
Hard
style.
worker.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, and he was really he was doing well for us, as terrible as the team was, which is why Grier. I'm pretty sure he was
Mm-hmm.
traded, and we got some picks out of it, I believe. I don't know. I'm making this up on the spot.
The trade on March 1st, the Sharks traded Eyssimont to Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for Vladislav Nemestikov.
Oh,
Yeah.
just kidding. I don't even remember what happened with that guy.
Well, he's not here anymore, so that's what
Correct.
happened. So let's see. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was picked up from waivers by the Jets by us.
Yeah.
At the beginning of January 6th, 2023, and then a couple months later we flipped him over. So I
Yeah.
mean, you know, trying to build up to whatever the 40 chess Greer's playing. Yeah, like you said, he was good for us during his time here. But then if you can make something else out of it for like the bigger slice of the pie that we're getting at here, or whatever the analogy is there. Whatever the case may be, we got to see him again when we went against Tampa Bay Lightning. That the fact that Askarov got this start, I was like, okay, let's see what the kid can do. And they were talking up about how they have Andrei Vasilevsky on the other end of the ice there, and how he basically is someone that Askarov looked up to as another Russian goaltender. They were talking about how between the two of them, Askarov is the highest drafted Russian goaltender, and then right after him is Vasilevsky. So, I mean, they were talking like just all like the little similarities. Like I kind of felt like however this game ends up turning out to be, like it's just a lot of great moments for him getting to go up against his someone who he's looked up to, a very competitive team and everything like that. And the Sharks kind of came into 2024 deciding, yeah, we're gonna start winning now. we just needed to turn the page. Our New Year's resolution is we're gonna start winning, and they came out of the bag and just like got it. And they were just like, they definitely felt like they were confident out there taking on this team that obviously is like going towards the playoffs again this season. And it was just really great to see Askarov continue to improve on his game. I believe it was this game that Sheng tweeted out, or it might have been the previous one, but he tweeted out there was this photo of Askarov behind the net, and he was getting ready to play the puck, and Shang said, Askarov in his natural habitat. There were some moments between these two games where I caught myself holding my breath as Askarov goes behind the net, because it's not that, like, I love a goaltender who's confident, who is very and also very confident in their stick game and everything. I think it was Mike Smith. Something Smith with the Oilers forever and a day ago. Like, he was very infamous for being a goaltender that's just very, very comfortable with coming out and playing the puck. And he did it, like, for the most part, like, really well. And we already talked about the similarities that are kind of like between how Askarov and Fleury play. Like, Fleury's like really aggressive when he's in his net, but, you know, Fleury being, you know, first overall pick and successful with like 3 Stanley Cups, like, and even in his like final year in the NHL, like, he's still such a aggressive and competitive guy. But when he goes out there and he makes the plays, like, you have that confidence that he knows exactly what he's doing. He's willing to take that risk versus still trying to figure out what Askarov's doing. But I want to, before I get too far away from the tangent of Eyssimont and Wennberg, just want to point out there was like a tussle between the two of them for some reason during the Lightning game. And then at the end, like, Wennberg's helmet comes off, and he kind of does like this hairbrush, and looking at him like, what? Like, what is that? And then Eyssimont was just kind of like, no. He just kind of bounced. And I just thought it was hilarious. And I was just saying, like, oh, Eyssimont decided like he wasn't going to win the beauty contest, so he tapped out. He's like, oh, I am sorry.
It's so funny the way this thing played out, because Eyssimont is the one who popped his helmet off.
Yeah.
Like, he had him in a headlock. He tosses it off. The ref separates them a little bit, but then it's like once Eyssimont makes eye contact with Wennberg again, he's like, "All right, I'll stop."
He's like, I apologize.
That's my bad.
No, I'm sorry. I will not be punching that. It was just so strange that he kind of, you know, was like, never mind.
Yeah.
and then Wennberg's off, and like, you know, it just looked like we were getting ready to see a commercial with the way he was kind of just
chewing.
The whole sequence of it. I could not stop laughing. I could not stop watching it, because I'm just like, what is even happening here?
The comments on this tweet are really funny. Thank you, I love you. You're doing the Lord's work. It's just so funny. Shout out to @72 on ice. You're great for this. Continuing your talk on the Sharks and Askarov. I love this kid's personality. I'm so happy the Sharks got him.
So on top of him getting the win against the Lightning, he then again got called up to start against who did we play? Oh, the Devils. And then, you know, like, the Devils, they're kind of on the outside looking in. They're trying to get all the pieces ready to make a playoff run. And then we know that we received Blackwood from them last season. They kind of did a goaltender overhaul. They now have Jacob Markstrom and Jake Allen in net. So we knew yet again this game was going to be very competitive. And Askarov, you know, shined once again in net. The Shark came out in support. Cody Ceci got the game-winning goal there. Markstrom was very upset with the ending of the game. Askarov could not be more excited. I believe he was named first star. He was also given the helmet by the boys at the end for the player of the game. And when he came out for the star, whatever, what they do out on the ice when they get called as one of the stars, he did his signature, listening to the crowd and then hype up the crowd, and just everything about this kid. Just it just the vibes are just so great.
Right.
And there's another little clip that I didn't end up putting out here, but I'm pretty sure I tweeted it out, where it was like Macklin and Will Smith. They, I think it was after they came out on the ice to salute the crowd and everything. You could see them kind of like chatting with each other and being silly and everything. And I'm just like, the vibes are just so great here. The vibes are moving along as planned.
Yeah. I this every time he's out there, you can tell he's having so much fun, and I think that really does well for his game because like you'll see some guys who are, you can tell they're super stressed down on themselves, there's like no confidence, and you can tell how that affects their game. This kid is, every time he's out there, he's having a great time even if they're losing, he's not getting in his head, and he's just like the goofiest dude, which is so great to witness. I have a question because for rookies, usually it's like kids can only play, what is it, like 7 NHL games, and after that, technically they'll start their ELC contract, and like they're considered like as part of the NHL, right? Something like that.
There's like an age thing related to it, and there's like other little criteria, but that's not, if you're thinking that has anything in relation to Askarov, I don't believe so.
Okay, because my question was going to be like, he's only played a handful of NHL games. How many
Hmm.
games would he need to play to be in the running, quote unquote, for like the Calder?
I can't tell you that off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. Because I was just curious about that. Because this kid,
I wouldn't say that he would be in the running right now. Like,
no,
I did see some chatter about, I think it was a beat reporter talking about, with the way that Askarov's playing right now. Um, he's definitely making a case for himself and making it difficult for the coaching staff for when Vanacek does eventually come back. I mean, we talked a little bit about this. Like, honestly, like I'm gonna feel confident with whatever direction the coaching staff goes in. I mean, this is a year where we're just letting the kids play,
right,
like giving them space to do so. I mean, I think it's going to be very difficult if Askarov continues to play and get better with his game. I mean, obviously, from the first game that we got to see him in Teal to now, it's like the little building blocks. Like, he's adding more and more to his game. He just only needs more time and the ability to improve at this level, and he's only going to go up from here. Um, and I feel like if he continues to do that, like I mean, we're what, like a month or so away from the trade deadline. I mean, I can't say that either Georgiev or Vanacek are really in any position to be um, potentially moved, just because they haven't, like, unlike Blackwood, they haven't really kind of shown any sort of in relation to the other goaltenders that could possibly be moved around the league. Like, they don't really kind of stick out among the pack. But we do know that their contracts are expiring at the end of the season. So, I mean, if you end up feeling like it work out better for you to continue to give Askarov the starts in the NHL and then send one of them down on waivers, like I don't see that being such a bad thing. Um, and I mean, he's definitely putting in the work to he wants to stay up here. Like,
right.
that was the whole agreement, with the Preds trade. To He wanted more. He wanted the chance to become an NHL starter. And the Sharks have definitely shown that they're going to give him that opportunity, and he's answering back, being like, and this is, this is the reason, like, thanks for the opportunity, and I'm going to continue to produce here. And so I think it'll be interesting when Vanacek comes back, like what happens.
Right.
I mean, I took a glance at how the CUDA are doing. Like they're continuing to do really well down there. They called up Dell from Wichita, so they're fine down there from what I can tell. So I mean, it's all good. It's all positive stuff, from what I'm seeing.
Right. It's nice also that you mentioned that earlier the Sharks are undefeated in the year of 2025, and it feels great. They had like an 8 game losing streak. It was gross. I hated it. Um, but talk to me about this Hobey line, this NCAA line.
I mean, so Graf got called up because who got put on IR? Someone got I think Nico Sturm took a puck to the foot
Oof. Okay.
last the against the Lightning, so
Hmm.
he got put. He's injured. They called up Colin Graf, the kid that we got last season. He played a couple of games at the NHL, started with the CUDA this season, and they slotted him in there with Will Smith and Celebrini. Those two inseparable, like on the same wavelength. And then they were Drew was calling this on the broadcast the Hobey line because all three of them were up for they were in the mix of for the Hobey finalists last season in their NCAA season. And I mean they looked great out there. So yeah, so this graphic, I'm sorry to the person who ended up putting this together, and I do not recall who it is, but pretty much it was just like they look like they're at a picnic, like a backyard picnic, and it's just them cooking,
On the
chilling and
grill.
cooking. I
They
love it.
sure are. That seems like an exciting line to watch, though. Like I said, I
Yeah, the
wasn't able to
Lund
catch the game.
line, the Hobie
Great.
line, and
Things are
then whatever.
falling into place. Great for us. Speaking of the young guys, though, Will Smith.
Before you move on to that, I just want to I just want to give a shout out to Cody frickin' Cece with the
Oh,
game winner from the point. That was, and it was down to the last minute. I was already kind of like thinking, okay, time to prepare for OT, and then just Cody Cece with the rocket from the point to get past Jacob Markstrom.
which is why he
Uh,
was so
I
angry.
I was just expecting a really exciting game. It'd be great to get the win, but I didn't see it coming that way.
Right, right. I'm gonna go watch the highlights after we hop off here, but I've heard great
Oh,
stuff
and
about these games.
one other thing too. I just remembered. I was thinking about because we went against the Devils and the whole Blackwood thing, train, whatever. And I was saying, we beat New Jersey, who gave us Blackwood for a 6th round pick, and then we flipped Blackwood with Giovanni and a 5th round in 27 for Kovalenko Georgiev in the 5th round in 2025 and a 2nd round in 2026. Big money, Mike. He is just turning and cooking and doing amazing things, and couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier.
Absolutely stoked for what he's doing for this team. Um, okay, so our favorite beat writer, Sheng Peng. He is so silly. He likes to ask the randomest questions just to kind of get a little personality out of these players. And I think for him, asking the young guys these questions is a lot of fun because they'll actually answer. um, but what was this 2 days ago? He said he talked to Will Smith. He said that Forgetting Sarah Marshall and I Love You Man are the rom coms on his and Macklin Celebrini's watch list. Says he's watched Endless Love on the Plane by himself because Mac was playing cards. Those two are usually inseparable. Um, But like, why? I don't understand. Like, what is the point of asking this question other than what do you do on your free time? What do you do for fun? What?
I'm kind of in love that they like watching rom-coms together.
This is a bromance.
Just, I mean, I feel like next season they're just gonna get an apartment together.
Just let it happen. They got great chemistry. They can watch all the rom coms they want.
So, I mean, I don't know if they've got like some like man crush on Jason Segel, but forgetting Sarah Marshall and I Love You Man, he's in both of them. But whatever. They're whatever gets them excited to be here every day and excited to play hockey together. They look like they're doing great out there on and off an ice. So
Watch whatever movies you want. We're not here to judge. We're living for it. uh, Lastly, on our little agendas here, we want to give a big shout out to our big money Mike, as you called him, GMMG, Mike Grier. His birthday's today. Happy
GM Silky.
50th. Wait, is that today? Today?
Yes.
Absolutely. January
He is
5th.
the big 5-0 today. And happy birthday to him. Our gift to you is, yes, sir, thank you. May we have some more.
Big fan of your work.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing amazing.
Yes. With poker face and all. This guy, the only thing the only thing I kind of wish was that if he was a little bit more expressive. I would like to see him enjoying himself sometimes instead of being so serious all the time he's
We'll
showing on
have to
TV.
wait a couple of years when we finally get to the cup final, and then maybe he'll crack a little smile.
Just a little one. Imagine.
Just a little one. He'll come out and just be like with the cup.
Just a little smirk. Like,
just a nod. Yes.
give us some more personality, my guy. You deserve it. It's so funny too, like the like how opposite it is, how the team, the chemistry, how much fun the guys are having, and then there's Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So serious, so stoic. I wonder what he's like behind closed
giving
doors.
them all of that energy. He's like, I give you my energy.
Right.
Sacrificing it for the better of the team.
I'm sure he has his own little fun behind closed door. We don't see it. He's just very serious.
Yeah.
But shout out to this guy. Yeah. Do you have any last closing thoughts?
I mean, what an exciting first week in 2025. Thank you, Sharks, for giving us those moments. Hopefully there's more in the bag to come. And I'm just excited more and more for Askarov. And I guess I should officially say on this podcast that I have decided who is going on my Cali Finn jersey. It has been decided.
Is it Askarov?
Yes. So I was thinking, not to continue going on about him, but I'm sure no one will blame me. But I don't know about you, but when I choose, I've never really bought a jersey that didn't have anybody on it. It's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, I really want to pick a certain player and then wear their jersey and whatever. And I don't really have a method behind it. All I knew, this was the first jersey that I didn't buy anybody's, didn't customize it because I was undecided, but since the league was moving to Fanatics, I'm like, well, I need to get my last jersey with Adidas, and we'll just figure out the other part of it later. And I've been kind of juggling between, before we got Askarov, it was Krona, Eklund, and Zetterlund. They were kind of the ones that were floating around as like, okay, one of these guys will eventually win it out here. I don't know how. You're just gonna have to do something. And there's something about these two games, just the way that he's continued to improve on his game and his personality, and just more and more stuff coming out about him. It just the light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, well, okay, I guess
Yeah.
it's decided now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, I'm actually opposite of you. I usually don't like to get a player on my jersey unless I know that they're absolutely staying for a little while.
See
And like,
that so what I'm doing is a little unconventional how I used to do things, because when my very first customized jersey was Jonathan Chichu, and then I think a couple of seasons later we traded him, and I was devastated and I didn't know what to do with myself. And for Christmas, my friends bought me a jersey that wasn't customized yet. And they said, whenever you decide, we'll go ahead and customize it. So I was just kind of like, well, this is probably going to take a really long time because I'm still recovering from us trading away Jonathan Chichu. So, and I can't even tell you the moment, but it ended up being Dan Boyle. So I wore Dan Boyle's jersey for, many, many years, obviously still in rotation with the jerseys that I wear. And then we traded him off. And then I was just like, devastated again. And I was just like, well, we're just going to have to make sure that whoever I get next time, like, gets a contract and is going to stay here for a little bit longer. Not that we didn't have Dan Boyle for like 6 years, but it was still like, I'm feeling even more conservative with my choice now, because I'm like already seen it twice happen, and it's devastating to me to see
yeah.
them leave. And when we got Ferraro, when he came up after his run with UMass, it was between him and Radim Shimmick. And I was like, okay, whichever one of these guys gets a contract is who will. And then I think the year that Ferraro got an extension and Shimmick went down with like the knee injury, that was kind of like my deciding point for Ferraro. And I kind of figured it was gonna take that long again with this jersey. But like I said, it just kind of, things just happen. And I was
Right.
like, you know what? I'm feeling good about this. And then if not, we'll just get it stitched out and like release it something else. But that's just where I'm at right now. Like Askarov just kind of is like the whole package deal that I feel really confident in his upward trajectory with the Sharks.
Well, I approve your decision. I am backing you up. This is great. I'm happy for you. He's a great choice.
So
Um,
don't disappoint Askarov. Just kidding.
just
Just
he's
kidding.
fine.
He's not.
He'll be fine.
He'll
You'll
be
be fine.
fine. We'll reel him a little bit from behind the net. He went out there like one too many times last game, and I'm just like, okay, you're done playing the puck. Can you get back in front of the net? He's like I feel like he just kind of like I'm happy that you're having fun out there, but you might be a little too chill behind the net. Just a little too chill yet for me.
He'll figure it out. It's fine.
He's like, you guys still need my head back here? It's like, no, get back in front of the net.
Well, I want a New Jersey. Maybe soon. We'll see. We'll save up for that. Okay. I guess that's all we have for today's episode. I'm your host Ness.
And I'm Jay.
We'll catch you next weekend, guys. Bye.